could your cat burn down your house?
Are cage-free eggs becoming the norm?
What happened to chocolate milk? In New Jersey, childhood rite of passage may become a thing of the past. Because having ice fishing shanties on frozen lakes leads to prostitution. What's news? Well, we go through the stats and look for the real news.
The news that should be news, but really isn't most of the time.
News is news.
The news is news. The unheard of news. The news you gotta dig for.
And we've dug.
Doug. You can tell by the pile.
Right.
Ford's Mach-E EV, the quiet Mustang, has arrived. I live in a quiet neighborhood next to a racetrack. At night, the local delinquents use the expressways to test and tune their rashly overbuilt heaters, peeling out, snatching up ships, and falling into the night. I was once like them, but then I turned 9.
Apparently, about half or more than half of all the new Mustangs are electric now. That people are
Oh,
buying
for
it.
real?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
He looked until 1980, where more than 800 folks attended his funeral, and the governor declared an official day of mourning. Leroy Brown, of course, is a legendary bass.
A fish?
Yeah, it's a bass.
Leroy Brown is a fish.
He's a bass. He's famous. 800 people attended his funeral. And downtown, there is a marker to him. He lived in this guy's shop until 1980 when it was called 1973.
Maybe the fish committed suicide if it lived in a shop. Why not just release it back in the wild? And they have the audacity to bury it in the ground?
Yeah, I wonder where the funeral was. It doesn't say where the funeral was.
They have a plaque. It's in the sidewalk. Why are they burying a fish in a sidewalk? You're just dishonoring the memory of the fish. How heavy was this fish?
It doesn't say. That's the thing. I thought it would say. I'm sure it's listed somewhere. Not in the article. In New Jersey, childhood rite of passage may become a thing of the past. State lawmakers are considering letting districts use remote learning instead of having snow days.
Well, that just sounds awful. I mean, you're going to have a snow day if your internet goes out.
I think I have it, yeah. I think I have a longer article in here about the controversy in Hudson, Ohio, where the mayor is raising eyebrows at a remark.
Crazy eyebrows.
He's raising eyebrows
Oh.
because having ice fishing shanties on frozen lakes leads to prostitution.
Cookbooks Overboard?
Oh, yeah,
Mishap
I wanna
delays
read that
2
one.
releases. Were you looking forward to making a fried bologna sandwich loaded with crisp vinegar brined potato chips? Or whipping up deviled eggs, tostadas with salsa matcha? You may have to dive to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. That is where copies of the cookbook Turkey and the Wolf, named for the popular New Orleans restaurant containing such recipes, could be sitting. The publisher isn't entirely sure. Okay. The books, which were supposed to be available next month, were on their way from Singapore to New York aboard the Madrid Bridge, a container ship. On January 7th, the ship experienced a container collapse that caused dozens of units to tumble into the sea, according to Ocean Network Express, the transportation and shipping company that operates the vessel. I have some wild and unfortunate cookbook news. Mason Hereford, author of Turkey and the Wolf and owner of the restaurant, said on Instagram earlier this week announcing the accident. Also on the ship were about 50,000 copies of Dinner in One, a cookbook written by Melissa Clark, a New York Times food writer and columnist, who said she learned of the collapse from her editor last week. She said that the strange incident felt in keeping with the string of tumultuous events that had defined this era. Of all the things that we've been through in the past few years, I wasn't surprised, Ms. Clark said on Friday. Of course this happened. Of course this happened to my book. About 60 containers went overboard, and 80 were damaged during the collapse, Ocean Network Express said. in a statement. There were no injuries or fatalities reported, and there was no loss of containers with dangerous cargo, Nick Rowe, a spokesman for the owners of the ship, said in a statement. Hundreds of millions of containers are transported by sea every year. While units rarely fall into the ocean, such accidents can occur during severe weather and in rough seas, according to the World Shipping Council, which together with other organizations, the industry published a report on the phenomenon.